So Rachel, you said that in your home country, New Zealand, there are lots of birds that don't fly?
Yes, there are a lot of birds that don't fly.
Wow, so I only knew of the kiwi and of course the penguin, but I did not know of other ones. So first the kiwi. It does not fly, right?
That's the famous one.
Right.
They don't fly, but they can run very fast. I have seen them.
Like, and are the kiwi all over? Like, are there different types of kiwi?
Yeah, there are several different varieties. They are very rare though, and they're nocturnal.
Oh, nocturnal.
I would say most New Zealanders have never seen one in the wild. I have only seen them in kiwi parks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't see them.
So, I thought they would be like kangaroos in Australia, or something like you go and there's one.
No, they're very precious and very rare. One that you see more often is the pukeko, it looks a little bit like a stork, I suppose, except it's dark blue.
What's it called?
Pukeko.
Pukeko.
Ah, yeah, and they're a lot more common. And takahe is another one.
So the first one.
You can see them along the side of the road. When you are driving through the countryside, they are much more common.
So this pukeko, does it fly?
No, they don't fly.
Really? And it's like a stork. It has long legs?
It has quite long legs. Yeah, it's a very cute little bird, but it's very dark.
How tall is it? Like up to your knee? Up to your hip?
Up to your knees.
Really?
Cute little bird.
That's awesome. So what was the other one you mentioned?
Takahe. It's very similar looking to that one. It's a little different. It's difficult to tell apart.
Really, and it's also kind of dark bluish.
Yeah, another one's a kakapo. A very famous one. It's New Zealand's flightless green parrot. It's kind of like a large fat parrot that lives on the ground.
Really?
It's extremely rare. I'm not sure what the numbers are now, but around 20 years ago I think there were only 45 left.
Oh, that is rare.
Extremely rare, so there's an intensive breeding program for them, and of course nobody's seen those in the wild.
Yeah, you have to be careful or it will go like the way of the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah, they breed and they nest on the ground. They lay their eggs on the ground, so they are very vulnerable to introduced predators, to any animals.
Yeah, I know that. You don't have snakes, but I know that snakes when they got into Guam they like decimated the bird population.
Yep. That's what would happen, and that's why New Zealand immigration customs is very strict about what kind of animals you can bring in. We don't even have snakes in zoos.
That's smart.
Michael Jackson famously came to New Zealand in the 1980s and wanted to bring his pet snake with him, and he was not allowed to.
Oh, good on you.
There were no exceptions to that rule.
Are there any other birds that don't fly? For example, do you have penguins?
Oh, yes, there's lots of penguins in New Zealand.
In the south, right?
Yeah, in the south. Oh, they come up to the north sometimes.
Really? That far north?
Yeah, occasionally. The big colonies are down south.
Ah, that's amazing. How cool. Any other birds that don't fly?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up on the internet.
No, that's still though, that's quite a few. That's so nice.
The most famous was the moa, of course,
The moa?
which is an ostrich-sized bird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they were killed off before Europeans arrived in New Zealand.
Oh, easy hunting.
They were easy hunting. Yeah. And a big feast.
It's funny how when you go to a place, you really want to see like a local animal. So last year I went to the Middle East. I went to UAE and Oman, and I just wanted to see a camel. I wanted to see a camel so bad, and I thought like I would go down the road.
Everyone drives a Mercedes these days.
And there would be a camel, and I was kind of going out in the countryside. I was not just in the city, and I never saw a camel, and I was asking people that work there, and they're like, yeah, you do see them, but I was just so heartbroken that I never saw a camel.
Ooh.
It's one of my favorite animals. I just think they look so cool, so when I go to New Zealand, I have to make sure I see a kiwi.
But you will have to go to the Kiwi house.
The Kiwi house.
The Kiwi house it's called. Or just look up zoos.
And they got 'em?
Yep, they got 'em there. But you won't just see them driving around.
So, Lindsay, do you like to text message a lot on your cell phone?
Yeah, actually, I text message a lot.
I don't do it so much. Sometimes I prefer to just call someone on the phone if I'm in a hurry.
Yeah, I go both ways. Sometimes I know I don't really want to talk to the person. I just want to ask them one question. So it's so much easier for me just to text them and say, "Are you going to the party tonight?" for example, instead of calling them, because I know if I call them, I'm gonna have to have a long conversation.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Well, usually I get off the phone pretty quickly when I call someone. I'm not a big talker.
Yeah, that's true, Jake. You don't talk a lot. But, in general, I like to call people, because I think it adds a more personal touch.
So are you fast at writing the messages with your thumb?
Well, when I first got a cell phone, which was actually only 5 years ago, I was so slow. I thought I would never text message, and I always called people. But then people kept text messaging me, so I felt obligated to try to learn how to text message. So now, I'm pretty fast actually. What about you?
Actually, I have the opposite problem, where when I first got my cell phone, I thought it was so cool and I had to text message all my friends who had one, and I was pretty fast with my thumb then. But it seems like now I don't use it so much, and I have gotten slower actually.
Yeah, I think the text message actually is sort of has to do with your age. For example, I text message a lot and I know people younger than me, For example, people in high school, they text message a lot. But I asked my father if he text messages, and guess what he said?
What?
Well, of course, he said he never text messages. He thinks it's very juvenile and unprofessional to text message someone.
Yeah, I can see what he means. It's usually associated with young people and considered pretty informal to text message someone.
Yeah, it is really informal, I think, because you are just using your thumb and you are trying to write fast. Rarely do you ever write dear, or from, or use polite language, right?
Yeah, because you are using your thumb, you have to write the messages as short as you possibly can.
Right, I mean, it sort of makes sense. When I think that I would never text message someone I did not know very well. I only text message people I'm good friends with and comfortable with.
Well, it serves its purpose then, does not it?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is cheaper than calling someone, but, you know, other times it's better to call someone, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.